The biggest obstacle standing between you and wealth isn't the economy, your job, or your lack of connections. What if the real reason you stay stuck financially is a silent, invisible parasite operating inside your brain? Every single day, millions of hardworking people wake up, work 8 to 10 hours, save as much money as they can, and still end up living paycheck to paycheck. They sacrifice their sleep, their peace, and their youth, only to realize years later that their bank accounts haven't grown, and neither has their freedom. Why does this happen? Common wisdom tells us it's a lack of effort. Society tells us you're just not working hard enough. But human psychology reveals a much darker truth. Welcome to the scarcity mindset. This isn't just a mental attitude or a pessimistic perspective. It is a biological, cognitive hijacking. When your brain perceives that you don't have enough, whether it's money, time, status, or resources, it alters the way you process reality. It reshapes your decision-making, lowers your functional intelligence, and traps you in a cycle of immediate survival. In this video, we are going to expose the hidden mechanisms of the scarcity mindset. We will explore how scarcity rules your brain, why it actively keeps you poor, and most importantly, the exact psychological protocol you need to break free and reclaim control over your mind and wealth. To understand why scarcity keeps you trapped, we first need to travel back hundreds of thousands of years into human history. Our brains were not built for modern financial systems, stock markets, or long-term investments. Our brains were engineered for one single purpose: survival. In the prehistoric era, if food was scarce, your brain entered a state of emergency. It shut down non-essential functions like creativity, long-term planning, and deep reflection. Instead, it funneled all your mental energy into one urgent question: where do I find food today? If you didn't focus on today, there would be no tomorrow. Fast forward to the present day. Your brain still uses that exact same primitive mechanism. But today, instead of a shortage of calories, it reacts to a shortage of capital. When you are constantly worried about rent, debt, bills, or a declining bank balance, your brain triggers the exact same survival alarm. It registers financial lack as a threat to your existence. In psychology, this phenomenon was deeply researched by behavioral scientist Sendhil Mullainathan and psychologist Elder Shafir. They discovered that scarcity creates what is known as a bandwidth tax. Think of your brain like a high-performance laptop. You have a limited amount of RAM, or cognitive capacity, available at any given moment. When you operate in a state of financial scarcity, a massive portion of your mental RAM is continuously consumed in the background by anxiety, calculation, and fear. You are constantly running an invisible program that asks, how will I survive this month? How will I pay this bill? What if I lose my job? The results of their research were shocking. When individuals are subjected to intense financial pressure, their functional cognitive capacity drops by up to 13 IQ points. To put that into perspective, losing 13 IQ points is equivalent to the cognitive decline caused by losing an entire night of sleep, or the long-term impact of chronic alcoholism. You are not making poor financial choices because you are unintelligent. You are making poor financial choices because your brain is functioning in a state of artificial impairment. Scarcity degrades your mind, limits your vision, and forces you to play a game you are biologically programmed to lose. How exactly does this mental impairment manifest in real life? It happens through a psychological phenomenon called tunnel vision. When scarcity takes over, your focus narrows down to an extreme degree. You can only see what is inside the tunnel, which is the immediate problem right in front of you. Everything outside the tunnel, the long-term opportunities, self-education, strategic investments, health, and relationships, becomes completely invisible. Let's look at how this plays out in daily decisions. Consider Person A. Person A has a severe scarcity mindset. They need to buy a household item. They spend 2 hours searching for coupons, reading reviews, and driving across town to save $10. On paper, they saved $10, but in reality, they traded 2 hours of irreplaceable human life and mental energy for a measly $5 an hour. Why did they do this? Because inside their tunnel, $10 cash today is real, visible, and urgent. But the value of spending those 2 hours learning a high-value skill, building a business, or resting their mind to make better decisions tomorrow is outside their tunnel. Scarcity forces you to cut costs instead of expanding capacity. There is a fundamental law of wealth that the wealthy understand, but the poor ignore. There is an absolute limit to how much money you can save, but there is no limit to how much money you can create. When you operate from scarcity, your entire life becomes an exercise in defense. You play not to lose, rather than playing to win. You pinch pennies while stepping over dollars. You decline taking a $500 course that could teach you a skill worth $50,000 because you are focused on protecting the $500 in your pocket right now. You stay in a dead-end, low-paying job because the immediate certainty of a small paycheck inside the tunnel feels safer than step out into the unknown to build true leverage. This is how scarcity keeps you poor. It locks you into short-term optimization at the expense of long-term freedom. The damage of scarcity doesn't stop inside your head. It leaks out into your behavior, your posture, your communication, and your social interactions. In social psychology and dark psychology, there is a concept known as subconscious signal transmission. Human beings are remarkably adept at detecting underlying psychological states in others, even if they cannot consciously name them. When you operate from scarcity, you project an energy of desperation. Whether you are applying for a high-paying job, pitching a business client, or trying to negotiate a deal, desperation is financial poison. When a client or employer senses that you need them more than they need you, your perceived value plummets instantly. Consider how power dynamics work. High-value individuals negotiate from a position of abundance. They are willing to walk away because they know their worth and know other options exist. Low-value dynamics are fueled by scarcity. When you operate from scarcity, you accept low pay, tolerate disrespect, and compromise your standards because you fear that no other opportunity will ever present itself. This creates a tragic feedback loop. Scarcity makes you desperate. Desperation lowers your social and market value. Lower market value results in poor compensation and bad deals. Poor compensation reinforces your initial financial scarcity. The trap snaps shut. You become a prisoner of your own needy projection. Now that you see the prison for what it is, the question becomes, how do you break out? How do you reprogram a brain that has been conditioned by environment, upbringing, and financial stress to think in terms of scarcity? You cannot simply wish it away. Positive thinking and vague affirmations will not rewrite your neural pathways. You need a systematic, strategic protocol to re-engineer your mind. Here are the 4 fundamental stages to eliminate the scarcity mindset forever. Stage 1. Audit your cognitive bandwidth. The first step is to reclaim your mental RAM. You must identify and ruthlessly eliminate low-value, high-stress micro-decisions. If you are spending 30 minutes every morning stressing over small, trivial purchases, you are draining the exact mental energy required to make high-impact wealth decisions. Automate your finances where possible. Create strict boundaries around your time. Stop trading hours of your life to save pocket change. Treat your attention and mental clarity as your most valuable asset, because it is. Stage 2. Shift from saving to leverage. The poor focus exclusively on earning and saving. The wealthy focus on building and leveraging. Instead of asking yourself, how can I spend less money this month? Force your brain to ask, how can I increase the value of my time so that this expense becomes irrelevant? When you shift your core question, you force your brain out of the narrow tunnel and into the realm of expansion. You stop looking for ways to shrink your lifestyle and start looking for ways to expand your capability. Invest your money and time into assets that grant you leverage. High-value skill acquisition, sales, copywriting, media creation, code, negotiation. Scalable systems and businesses, personal branding and audience building. A single high-value skill breaks the illusion of scarcity forever. Because once you realize you can generate income on demand, fear loses its grip over your demand. Stage 3. The asymmetric risk matrix. People bound by scarcity are paralyzed by the fear of loss. They treat every decision as a potential catastrophe. To break free, you must adopt the mindset of elite investors and master the asymmetric risk matrix. An asymmetric risk is a scenario where your downside is capped and small, but your potential upside is practically unlimited. Starting a digital channel or business online costs almost nothing but your time, low downside, but can rewrite your financial future completely, massive upside. Reaching out to high-value mentors or sending cold proposals costs $0, zero downside, but can unlock life-changing opportunities, high upside. When you realize that calculated failure does not destroy you, the fear that feeds scarcity vanishes. Stage 4, detachment and abundance anchoring. Finally, you must master the art of emotional detachment. Abundance is not about having $1 million in your bank account today. Abundance is a psychological posture. It is the unshakable conviction that resources, opportunities, and wealth are infinite, and that your capacity to create them is unlimited. When you enter a negotiation, a business venture, or a new career phase, practice the power of walking away. Never allow yourself to become so attached to a single outcome, client, or job that you trade your sovereignty for short-term security. When you stop chasing, you become a magnet for value. The scarcity mindset is a choice, often an unconscious one, but a choice nonetheless. You can continue to play it safe inside the narrow tunnel of survival. You can continue to trade your irreplaceable time for pennies, let fear dictate your choices, and allow your brain to operate in a constant state of artificial limitation. Or you can recognize the trap for what it is. You can reclaim your cognitive bandwidth, upgrade your skills, embrace asymmetric leverage, and step into a reality where you dictate your value to the world. Your mind is either your greatest asset or your most brutal oppressor. The choice is yours. Master your mind. Control your life. If this deep dive challenged your perspective, hit the like button and subscribe to The Dark Fluence. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What is one area of your life where scarcity has been holding you back? Join us and take control.